When we think of humans from the past, we often imagine ancient ancestors as simpler or less capable versions of ourselves. But for Neanderthals, this couldn't be further from the truth. In today's video, we'll explore how powerful the Neanderthals actually were, to the point that they could be considered superhumans. In fact, these archaic humans, who once roamed parts of Eurasia, had traits that might make some modern humans look like the weaker species. Often seen as our sister species, they share a lineage with us that's etched in our DNA, leaving traces in nearly every modern human. From their incredible physical strength to their unmatched durability, Neanderthals can genuinely be called superhumans in many ways. While their lives were brutally challenging, Neanderthals were built in ways that allowed them to not only survive, but thrive in conditions that would be tough for any modern human to handle. Physical power and build. One of the first things that would have stood out about Neanderthals was their height, or lack of it. Compared to the average human today, they were generally shorter. Most Neanderthals would have stood about 5.3 feet, or 1.6 meters for females, and 5.5 feet, or 1.67 meters for males, which is about 5.5 inches shorter than modern humans. But despite their shorter frames, these superhumans were built like tanks. Neanderthal males weighed around 83 kilograms, or 183 pounds, while females hovered around 66 kilograms, or 146 pounds. For their height, this weight meant they were stocky, with body mass indexes that would suggest an incredibly dense build, one we'd associate with power lifters or wrestlers. Studies of their anatomy reveal a startling truth. Even the most skilled modern fighter might find themselves on the losing end of a brawl with a Neanderthal. Contrary to the belief that modern humans are the pinnacle of physicality, Neanderthals were built for power. They were predators of their time, sporting muscles that were not only well developed, but also designed for raw strength. For instance, their pectoral muscles were twice the size of those found in modern humans, allowing them to generate nearly double the upper body strength. Brain power. But it wasn't just their skulls that set the Neanderthals apart. They also had slightly larger brains. On average, their brains measured about 1,400 cubic centimeters, compared to modern humans whose brains are around 1,300 cubic centimeters. So these ancient powerhouses had some serious brain power to go along with their muscle. Neanderthals showcased their incredible brain power through remarkable tool use and technology, particularly exemplified by the Mousterian tool culture of the Middle Paleolithic. This sophisticated toolkit included hand axes, scrapers, and finely crafted points made using the Lavalos method. By shaping a core stone to produce sharp flakes, Neanderthals created precise tools that were essential for hunting, butchering, and crafting, demonstrating their advanced craftsmanship and adaptability to various tasks. The Mousterian toolkit evolved over time, reflecting changes in Neanderthals' environments and lifestyle. As they faced different climates and landscapes, their tools became more specialized, allowing them to target large game effectively. This adaptability speaks volumes about their problem-solving abilities and innovation. Beyond mere survival, tool-making was integral to Neanderthal culture and social structure. It likely fostered cooperation and communication within groups, enabling successful group hunting strategies. Evolution. However, Neanderthals, just like us humans, went through some serious evolution over the years. When we look back at Neanderthals from around 300,000 years ago, it's clear they were built like tanks, way stronger and tougher than those from just 50,000 years ago. We can think of Neanderthals in three groups: early, middle, and late populations. The later ones, influenced by mixing with Homo sapiens around 120,000 years ago, started to show a bit more of a delicate build. Now here's a fun fact that busts the myths that Neanderthals were all short and stocky. Some of them actually stood around 5'10". It's possible that these were some real giants among them. Think of a Neanderthal who could have hit 6'5" and weighed in at a muscle-packed 250 pounds, or 113.4 kilograms. Just like today, there were probably a few Neanderthal genetic freaks out there, sporting robust skeletons and tough faces that could take a beating. Plus, muscle density that'd make even the strongest modern human look like they're slacking. Exceptional strength and endurance. When it comes to strength, Neanderthals were on another level. Studies suggest that on average, they were much stronger than modern humans, with the kind of power you'd expect from someone who trained their whole life. Imagine someone being able to carry 50 pounds of meat across rugged terrain for miles. That was a typical feat for a Neanderthal. These strength levels aren't just for show. They were practical adaptations for a lifestyle that demanded constant physical effort. Neanderthals' shoulders and chests were wider and thicker than ours, a build that gave them enhanced muscle mass and allowed them to throw large spears and grapple with big animals. Scientists estimate that male Neanderthals could potentially bench press around 500 pounds, or 227 kilograms, while females might handle about 350 pounds, or 136 kilograms, without formal training. Many of the Neanderthals' archaeologists have recovered huge forearms, possibly the result of a life spent stabbing woolly mammoths and straight-tusked elephants to death and dismantling their carcasses. Remarkably, their muscles were so strong that their forearm bones were actually bent from the force exerted. By today's standards, these would be elite levels of strength. One way to put the sheer strength of a Neanderthal into perspective is to imagine if a Neanderthal went toe-to-toe with a modern human. It would be like putting a female boxer in the ring with a heavyweight dude. Take Mike Tyson, for example. With his powerful, compact build, he really captures the Neanderthal vibe. But even with his crazy strength, speed, and aggression, he'd be up against some serious competition. A Neanderthal, with their massive muscles and sturdy skull, would probably laugh off a punch from Iron Mike. Tyson's peak punching power clocked in at about 1,800 pounds per square inch, which is enough to pack a serious punch. But it's likely a Neanderthal in their prime would take that hit and keep on going. Mike Tyson stands around 5'10" and weighs about 220 pounds, or 99.8 kilograms of pure muscle. In comparison, studies suggest that the average male Neanderthal weighed around 175 pounds, or 79.4 kilograms of lean body mass. But here's the kicker: Neanderthals had way thicker bones, and that lean body mass doesn't even factor in the extra muscle they could have packed on. So if a Neanderthal wanted to bulk up, they'd probably end up looking like a walking powerhouse. What made their superhuman strength possible was a remarkable difference in their bone structure. Neanderthal bones were noticeably thicker and denser than ours. Their skeletons weren't just bigger, they were packed with more mass, making them much stronger and more resistant to injury. Each bone was effectively reinforced, built to withstand the rugged life they led in the Ice Age, hunting massive animals like woolly mammoths and rhinoceroses. Growth and resilience. But it's not just their anatomy that makes Neanderthals such an amazing species. Their growth was pretty speedy too. Neanderthals matured way earlier than early humans. Take their teeth, for example. Fossils found in a Croatian cave show that Neanderthal teeth started coming in up to 4 months earlier than those of modern humans. This early tooth emergence hints that Neanderthal babies were weaned off milk sooner and moved on to solid foods at a younger age. Their quick development was probably essential to keep up with the high energy demands of their big brains and active lifestyles. Strength and growth wasn't the only thing that set Neanderthals apart. Their durability was just as impressive. Neanderthal skeletons show a high degree of trauma, with many individuals recovering from injuries that would put a modern person out of commission. Studies reveal that anywhere from 79 to 94% of recovered Neanderthal bones display signs of trauma: healed fractures, bruises, and even amputations. These injuries were likely caused by their close-quarter hunting techniques, which brought them face-to-face with dangerous animals. Skeletal studies highlight how well-suited Neanderthals were for generating and enduring large forces. Yet, the patterns of fractures seen in their bones, alongside the absence of projectile weaponry, suggest that they engaged in close-quarters combat, often leaping onto their prey to battle it through sheer strength. Neanderthal males likely excelled at face-to-face encounters, thrusting their thick spears into the flesh of mammoths rather than shooting them from a distance. With their heft and muscle, they could absorb and inflict considerable punishment. Built for power. Even the hardware Neanderthals came with was adapted for their harsh world. Genetic analysis shows that they likely had thicker skin, nails, and hair. all of which would help in the cold and protect them against injuries. Their joints were larger and built for strenuous activities, allowing them to handle movements that would strain or injure a modern human. Their fingertips were broader, with thumbs that jutted out at a wider angle. This hand structure might have meant a slight loss in precision, but gave them an incredible grip, especially useful for handling heavy objects and primitive weapons. It wasn't just the external structures that made them resilient, though. Inside, their bodies were uniquely adapted to cold environments. With barreled chests and rib cages that could accommodate larger lungs, Neanderthals could take in more oxygen. This was a crucial adaptation, as the extreme cold and high physical exertion required more efficient breathing. In fact, studies suggest that Neanderthals had lung capacities 20% greater than ours, on average, with some reaching a whopping 40% more. For comparison, that's beyond the capacity of even top athletes today. Exceptional genes. One of the most striking discoveries is that Neanderthals possess a higher number of gene variants associated with power and strength compared to modern humans. In a groundbreaking study, researchers identified 39 specific gene variants linked to power sports present in both Neanderthals and contemporary humans. However, the analysis revealed that many of these variants are significantly more prevalent in Neanderthals than in their modern counterparts. This suggests that traits associated with power, such as explosive strength and muscular build, were not only common among Neanderthals, but possibly even more pronounced than in today's athletes. Remarkably, a 50,000-year-old Russian Neanderthal specimen hints at an extraordinary hormonal status, unlike anything seen in today's humans. Neanderthals exhibited a pronounced androgenic phenotype, which indicates a high level of male hormones, likely shaped by a combination of genetics, a cold northern climate, and a diet predominantly based on meat. This hormonal profile would have given the average Neanderthal a significant power advantage in any physical confrontation with a Homo sapien. Neanderthals also didn't just breathe better, they breathed differently. Their noses were broader and more prominent, an adaptation that scientists believe helped them inhale larger amounts of air more quickly, a must for their high-energy, cold-weather lifestyle. This unique nasal structure allowed air to flow into their lungs faster, processing up to 100% more than modern humans. The need for such efficient oxygen intake might also be related to their muscle composition. Neanderthals are thought to have had a higher proportion of fast twitch muscle fibers, which are built for short, explosive bursts of energy. So when they were in a fight or hunting large prey, these muscle fibers can give them an added boost of power. But speaking of prey, how did Neanderthals, with their varied physiques, manage to run and hunt? But before we dive into how they moved, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the heated debates about our primitive history, hunting techniques, and strategies. Modern humans are built for endurance running. We got long legs, a springy arch in our feet, and a narrow pelvis that helps us conserve energy over long distances. These traits are perfect for chasing prey over extended periods, relying on stamina and efficient heat dissipation. On the flip side, Neanderthals had shorter limbs and a stockier build, which suggests they weren't focused on endurance running. Instead, they probably relied more on short bursts of strength. For instance, their longer heel bones might have made their running stride less efficient, making them better suited for quick sprints rather than long-distance runs. Neanderthals' hunting techniques reflected their physical build. They likely hunted at close range, and the evidence of trauma on their bones hints that their hunts were often dangerous. A study from 1982 found that the injuries on Neanderthal skeletons resembled those of rodeo riders, indicating that their hunting style was incredibly risky and involved a lot of physical confrontation. They covered a vast hunting area, about 600 square kilometers, chasing large game across wide landscapes. Depending on the season, they hunted different animals, going after wild goats in the summer and various prey throughout the year. A study led by the University of Southampton analyzed tooth enamel from Neanderthals and early modern humans to get a better idea of their diets and hunting strategies. The findings revealed that Neanderthals hunted large animals across this broad territory, targeting species like horses, red deer, and even an extinct rhinoceros. Altogether, the Neanderthal package was one of strength, resilience, and adaptation to an extreme environment. While they may have lacked the precision and dexterity that modern humans have developed, they made up for it with power, endurance, and an ability to withstand injury and cold that few, if any of us, could match. Even though Neanderthals eventually went extinct, their legacy lives on in our genes. Small amounts of Neanderthal DNA remain within many people today, providing subtle advantages like resistance to cold or disease. And as we uncover more about these incredible people, it becomes clear that calling them superhuman isn't just a metaphor, it's an understatement.